try another. Let me try. Hey, we got multiple.
We'll try another. Yeah, we'll try another intro and see. If all those fails, we'll just roll with it. Huh? It looks like it's getting stuck halfway.
All sports, all plays.
Here we go.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unscripted. And it's your boy, Jay McLovin. As you can see, we got our boy, Logan Landers. And we also got Chris Gonzo Gonzales. What is up, everybody? Say what's up.
I'm glad. What's up? I'm glad to be back. I missed the last couple shows because of other shows I was doing or I was at a baseball game. But now it's glad to be back with you guys.
Yeah, we're about to start making missing posters for you, Chris, and hang them around. Start sending them around to local shops in Indiana to see if they could track you down.
Yeah, I got a phone call saying you want to go watch a minor league baseball game. I'm like, sure, let's go.
Yeah, hey, if you get the opportunity for a baseball game, you take it.
Well, especially this time of year because it's where it's not real hot. It's not 95 degrees out, so you don't bake at the ball diamond, and it wasn't real cold. It was like 65, 68 degrees out. It was nice. Actually, a nice night.
Good point, too.
So, fellas, before we get into our first topic, a couple of things. Well, really just really one thing. The Packers have added Watkins to the wide receiving group.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me. So they got him on, I believe, a $4 million. I want to say it's a one-year deal. But what do you think about adding Watkins to this wide receiver group? I mean, obviously, they clearly don't have a number one. They've lost three of their wide receivers. Their best wide receiver before Watkins was Randall Cobb, for crying out loud. So I think they've got 2 picks in the first round of this draft coming up. I'm sure they're going to use at least one of those first rounders to bring in another wideout. I would have to imagine. If not, I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is going to go through the freaking roof. But what do you think about that? Them adding Watkins, does he help them at all?
I mean, it's going to help a little bit, but I feel like they still need more. They don't have a good wide receiving room. They lost, 2 or 3 of their guys? And I don't want –
They lost 3 total.
Yeah, I don't want Sammy Watkins or Randall Cobb as my number one guy. I'm sorry, I don't. They need if they don't draft a wide receiver, I think they're pick 29. If they don't draft a wide receiver in the first round, they are just idiotic.
That's the way I feel too.
I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I don't think either one of them guys, Watkins or Cobb, are a number 2 receiver right now at this point in their careers.
Yeah, I think
they're a solid 3rd or 4th option to have, but
right.
If you have them as your number 1 or number 2 option, you're going to be in some trouble.
I think Cobb has kind of slid down to the slot receiver mode. I think that's kind of where he's
been there forever.
But I tell you, here's the deal. I mean,
Watkins has had injury problems as well.
Yeah, he's 29 years old. He has been plagued with some injury issues. I don't know that I'm really taking Green Bay. Truthfully, I don't think I'm really taking them all that serious this year. Is anybody really, taking the Green Bay Packers seriously?
I still think they'll be fine, but I don't think they're not as good as they were last year. They have 2 first-round picks. I just looked. They have picks 22. That's one they got from the Raiders in the Devontae Adams trade. and then they have pick number 28. So if you have two chances to get a wide receiver in the first round. And Jay, it's been quite a long time since the Packers have drafted an offensive player or a wide receiver in the first round. It's been since 2002. Yeah. I don't know how you go that long, but they better break it in a couple weeks.
Since they drafted an offensive weapon in the first round, that's crazy.
Yeah, at least for a wideout, right? At least for a receiver. Yeah. I'm not sure about anything else, but yeah, they better break that, or else Aaron Rodgers is going to go into retirement probably.
I mean, and I agree with that. I mean, and the thing about it is, obviously this draft is going to be headlined by a lot of defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and there is a pretty lengthy wide receiver list of people available out there. So they should have a very good chance at landing, a good wide receiver, just given the depth there is in this year's draft. So I don't think they're going to have an issue with drafting a wide receiver. I do think that they don't draft a wide receiver, there's going to be some issues. I think there's like 20, 25, good receivers available. And then, of course, obviously there's a few elite number ones, but there's more than enough wide receivers to go around to fill the bill of that. But I'm just really not taking the Packers all that seriously this year. I'm just not. They were like last year, we're like, okay, Green Bay, okay, top notch. This year, I'm looking at Green Bay as maybe a fourth or fifth best team in the league. I just don't think they're all that great. What do y'all? Does anybody think differently?
I don't think they're clear. I don't think they're favorites to win the Super Bowl this year like they were last year.
Right.
They definitely have dropped in value.
I think they still win their division, but
yeah,
I wouldn't put them as a real threat until I see what they look like. This new offense looks like. It'd be hard for me to put them as a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how well Minnesota drafts this year. But I'll be honest with you, I can see Minnesota creeping up and being a third. They got the pieces. They got the wideouts. They got a good running back. They got a fairly decent quarterback. They have a moderate defense. I can see them putting up. I can see them taking the first place in the division. Honestly, I think they could scare the crap out of the Packers if they're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, they got a brand new system, like you said, new quarterback, new GM. So we'll see how they can mesh and what they can do. And like you said, they got to have a good draft if they want to compete in that division. The Bears, I mean, I don't think they're going to do a whole lot. It's Justin Fields' first year, and there ain't much to work with them anyways. You lost Khalil Mack. So I think that the division is probably going to be, a battle with Green Bay and Minnesota. It wouldn't surprise me.
No, I totally agree with you on that as well. Okay, hey, just wanted to kind of talk about that. I seen that pop up, and I wanted to kind of talk about that just for a moment, kind of get you guys' perspective. Mm-hmm. And then we roll into the NBA. And as you know, we just got through the first round of the NBA play-in, and now we're kind of getting into the second round of the NBA play-in which is going to be tomorrow night, before we actually roll into the playoffs themselves. I kind of wanted to go back to Tuesday games and talk about those real quick. Just kind of do a general recap. And the first game was the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Nets. Obviously, you saw the Nets win 115-108 against the Cavs. I'll be honest with you, it was a close game. I think the Nets kind of shot the ball just a little bit better than Cleveland did. By I think it was like. If I remember correctly, let me pull that up real quick. It wasn't by much in terms of the field goal percentage. I believe Cleveland came right in at about 44.6%, and the Nets came in at 53.6%. And I think that was really the difference maker because there wasn't really all that much difference in rebounding and assists, total rebounds, total assists. So it really came down to just who shot the ball better. I do think that had Jarrett Allen played in this game, that would have made a huge difference on Cleveland's side, and I think Cleveland maybe takes this game. Gonzo, what do you think about it?
Yeah, Cleveland just got too far down there in that second quarter when Brooklyn exploded and got that real big lead. And then Cleveland got within 6 points 3 times. But every time they got within them 6 points, Kevin Durant hit a dagger shot to kind of get the momentum back for the Nets, and they couldn't get no closer than 6. But I'm interested I'm ready to see this Cavs and Hawks game. because I think the Cavs can beat the Hawks and still get in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking too. We'll talk about that here in a little bit when we get to the previous. But I really believe that as well. I mean, the Hawks. I got to be honest with you though. The Hawks look pretty damn impressive. We'll talk about the Hawks in a minute, but they look pretty impressive last night. So I think that should be a really good game. I think they're going to match up nicely. Logan, what do you think about the Cleveland and Brooklyn series?
Yeah, I mean, we were having our show during the game, and I mean, we were pretty much saying it was over just because they were up by like 20 at halftime. But credit Cleveland, they almost got it done. If they would have had maybe 5 more minutes in the game, they maybe could have gotten it. But a good fighting effort. They still got a chance to keep in the playoffs against Atlanta tomorrow. And it's going to be interesting to watch. It was a good game overall. Garland had a really good performance for Cleveland. And then Kyrie did a wonderful job for Brooklyn. He was really a key piece of them getting the win.
Yeah, Evan Mobley had a modest game. He shot the ball well. He didn't shoot it a lot, but when he did shoot, he shot well. He had about 7 rebounds, which, at my center position, I would have liked to see him get more rebounds at 35 minutes of play. But Kevin Love kind of stepped his game up in the rebounding category, and he got about 14 rebounds. But I kind of want a little bit more out of my star center. I would like to see him get a little bit more rebounds. But honestly, I think just if they would have had Jarrett Allen, I think they probably could have squeaked this game out, to be honest with you.
I think, it would have been close for sure.
Yeah, I just think, I'm not saying that they would have won, but I really think that, man, I think the Cavs could have pulled it out. I think they would have had a good shot at doing it. Then we kind of roll into another close game. I mean, we had, like I said, Tuesday was a night of close games. We had Minnesota topping the Clippers at 109 to 104, and I got to be honest with you, I really thought Clippers might hold out and win that game, but obviously it just wasn't meant to be. They came out pretty hot. The Clippers took the first quarter 26-20, and then the T-Wolves took the second quarter at 33-25. And then, because the game was really back and forth, and the third quarter, then it goes 33-25 the Clippers' way. But once that fourth quarter hit, I think Minnesota just really kind of kicked it into gear. And the interesting thing about it was Karl Anthony Towns did not have his best game, and he was kicked. He fouled out in the fourth quarter for them to actually win the game without Karl Anthony Towns. I thought kind of spoke volumes for Minnesota, and I really think this. I think Minnesota. I really believe that they're going to do pretty good in this next round. When I look at Paul George, he went 10 of 24, 6 of 12 at the 3-point line for a total of 34 points, but. Then you look at Reggie Jackson, who kind of came in at 17, but nobody really kind of. I think you had Powell, who came in at 16, but it was pretty much when you look at Minnesota's side of it. You had D'Angelo Russell, which is, by the way, it's just kind of miraculously transcending his game now for the playoffs. Who got 29 points on 10 of 18 shooting, and then he had Edwards, who put up 30 on 10 of 21 shooting. Like I said, he had Karl Anthony Towns, who really honestly did not have his best game. He put up 5 rebounds on 11 points. And for Karl Anthony Towns, that's very, very crazy to me. It seems like that really kind of hurt them. But honestly, they still won the game. Patrick Beverley had a crazy game. He didn't shoot the ball incredibly well, going 2 for 8 at 7 points. But he had a hell of a lot of rebounds at 11. And he really put on that psychology performance, which is what Patrick Beverley does. He's just really good at getting underneath your skin. And I really think Patrick Beverley's mental abilities to get underneath their skin really kind of made a pretty good difference there. So, I don't know. All in all, man, Minnesota put up a good game. Clippers put up a good fight. But, man, Minnesota was just too much at the end. Gonzo?
Yeah, the problem with the Clippers was nobody showed up to help Paul George. I mean, there's been a lot of years we've buried Paul George because he hasn't showed up in a big game or in playoffs. He'll shoot terrible. He had a good game, like 34 points, but nobody really on the Clippers stepped up to help. I think the Clippers would have won that game, but Anthony Edwards has really stepped up his game.
He really has, honestly.
Everybody talks about Big Cat, which rightfully so, because he's the best. I mean, he's their best player, but Edwards has been playing good for him, and that's one of the reasons Minnesota's had a better year this year. And when you can get that many, if you get 20 something out of D'Angelo Russell, you're probably not beating Minnesota.
I totally agree with you. Before Logan gives his spiel, I will say this: if Karl-Anthony, when they go to this next round and play this next, Logan, do they play another game or are they automatically seeded in at number 7?
Like on the graphic here, Jay, Minnesota is already seeded. They are going to be taking on the Memphis Grizzlies in the next series.
I'll tell you what, if Karl-Anthony Towns don't show up against Memphis, it's going to be game over real quick and in a hurry.
It's going to be tough, but it's going to be interesting though, Jay. Because, I mean, talking about Memphis and Minnesota just real quick, it's going to be interesting because we're probably going to see Patrick Beverley on Ja Morant. We'll see if he can shut him down. You know, we're going to see Valanciunas going at it with Cat, and we're going to see what with Anthony Edwards, what he can do. I mean, there's a reason he won Rookie of the Year. There's a reason he was the number 1 overall pick. And so far, I mean, he's looking like, you know, one game into his playoff experience, we'll say, he's looking like he's good for the moment. I mean, he shot the ball well. He was a key part in them winning whenever Talent. Because if this was a couple of years ago, right when they were in the playoffs, and if Talent had a bad night, they were done for. There was nobody who could go and who could help him out. At least he's got someone else now, a number 2 option. Hopefully going to be number 1 in a couple of years, the way Wolves fans are looking. But good game. The Clippers, I mean, they just struggled. There wasn't anyone that could take over beside Paul George. I mean, Jackson had a poor night shooting. He didn't shoot the best. Powell wasn't doing nothing. Batum wasn't doing much. And they just went on a cold streak. Let's see. We got some – oh, wait, hold on. Sanders said with 5 to 6 fouls, Jay. I'm guessing he was talking about Cat. So Cardinals extend A.J. Green, but still up in the air about Kyler's contract. Okay. Yeah,
that's what the issue they extended A.J. Green. I guess it felt like he did enough.
They probably got him.
I think he did enough.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they might have drafted an offensive player, but it wasn't a wide receiver though.
Yeah, I think he might have been a lineman at best.
He's calling an upset. Pelicans over Clippers. Okay.
No, in 2020, he's talking about Jordan Love.
That's right. They did draft Jordan Love in 20.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. But overall, good win by the Timberwolves fans. Man, we're forgetting the most important story here, gentlemen. The female who protested on the game tried to super glue herself to the court. How did you not bring that up, Jay?
How crazy was that?
Wait, now what?
Oh,
yeah, bro. Hey, so she put glue in her hand. She ran onto the right underneath the rim, put her hand to the floor, and sat there. And they had to go out there and drag her off
during the game or
during the game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. You know, she could have at least used an epoxy.
Because it was something that the Timberwolves owner has been accused of, or I'm not 100% sure. So she wore a shirt that said, like, this guy abuses animals or something like that.
It's always something crazy. But you know what? I think she put Elmer's glue on or some Gorilla Glue and went out there. She should have had an epoxy. If she had an epoxy, she would have had a more of a fighting chance.
But also, shout out to Timberwolves. I mean, that celebration afterwards, they had pyro, they had confetti. They had – I wish they had the one shining moment playing. Patrick Beverley was crying his eyes out.
Like he won the NBA championship.
To be fair, this was Minnesota's championship. They've been to the playoffs in 18 years or whatever. So, hey, I mean.
Yeah, honestly, the last time Minnesota T-Wolves were good enough to get in there was probably when Garnett was still playing for them.
Oh, yeah, that was what it was for sure.
It's definitely that franchise is still going through a hard time. The T-Wolves are just. Yeah, they're getting better. I still think the T-Wolves, they have a long way to go, not only in the upper level management, but with their players themselves. But yeah, we'll see how they go. And then we turn our attention to Wednesday, and the first game out the gate was a blowout with the Hawks basically obliterating the Hornets. And Clint Capella had a good game. People, Clint Capella don't get enough, man, but he played a damn good game for them, to the point where he put up, I believe it was like 15. I think he had 15 boards. He had 17 boards on 15 points. He was at 6 of 9 shooting. I mean, for your big man, like I said, he's not a number 1 big man, but he's a good big man. And, he put up good numbers. And then, of course, he had Ice Trey, who basically shot like ice. 8 of 24 was just terrible. He had 24 points on 11 assists, so he made up for it in other ways. But man, talk about just being ice cold. I think the biggest stars of that night was not Trae Young. It was actually Herter, Hunter, and Capella. I think those were really, your big guys. And then of course I think you had, who was the other guy that Logan? Who was the other guy who was hitting threes? I think it was Hunter. It was Herter.
Gallinari hit a couple.
I think Bogdanovich. That's who it was. That's what I was thinking of. Bogdanovich, Herter, Capella, and Hunter. Those were your four really main contributing guys. I mean, Bogdanovich was just on fire from the 3-point line. It was stupid. So was Herter, honestly.
Yeah,
Gonzo, what do you think about that game?
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me that Trae Young was going to have a bad game and that the Hawks was going to beat the Hornets, I would have probably laughed, because the Hornets usually are one of the best, they're the fourth best offense in the league during the regular season. The Hornets were. I thought this was going to be a real good game. I couldn't believe it. Really surprised me that the Hawks blew them out, and especially without Trae Young having a big game. But Bogdanovich is capable of scoring 20 to 25 points a game, especially on nights when he really gets rolling.
And not to overlook it, but honestly, Lonzo Ball didn't have a good night either. He went 7 of 22 or 7 of 25 for 26 points, 4 of 14 behind the 3-point line. And Rozier had a terrible game. He went 8 for 22 as well. So, that really kind of hurt the Hornets more than it hurt Atlanta from what Trae Young did, because they had a lot of people step up. Unfortunately, the Hornets just didn't have anybody to step up in that capacity, and that's why they got blew out. They got blown out because of poor shooting, and Bogdanovich was just, God, that guy was on fire. Logan, your thoughts?
Yeah, man, good win for the Hawks. A team win, right? I mean, they played a lot of guys in this game. I mean, pretty much the entire team was on the court.
Right.
And, I mean, that really helped, because they shot almost 100 times to the team, 49 to 94. That's good for 52%. 50% exact from the 3-point line. You love to see it. And then also a pretty solid 72% from the free throw line. You mentioned Capella had a big night, 17 boards, 15 points. You like to see it. Even though Trae didn't have the best game shooting, he made up for it with those 11 assists, to be fair. Plus, he didn't turn the ball over much, only had 3 turnovers the whole game. So not too bad. They didn't turn the ball over much. He was only 10 the whole game. The Hornets had 14, so they also beat them there. Everyone in the starting lineup, right, the starting five, they each had at least 10 points or more in double digits. You like to see it. Hunter had a big game with 22, Gallinari with 18, and the bench came in, did their work. And, I mean, like you said, they just blew them all. They blew them out and sent them packing. No one on the Hornets really did much except for PJ Washington. I mean, he had a good game of 7 of 10 with 17 points. But, I mean, beside him, no one else really contributed much. They just couldn't shoot the ball. They shot under 40%. Both from the field and from 3. So you're not going to win a lot whenever you're shooting that bad. But good win for the Hawks. Like I said, big win, almost won by 30. And going to move on to face the Cavs and hopefully another good game and keep moving on to the playoffs.
And the thing about it is, honestly, for me anyway, is I feel like if he says that's right, at ease, soldier, you need to speak up. I am speaking up, sorry, first class. I got you though. Hey, listen, that was my old boss in the Army, by the way. Good guy. Hey, listen. Hey, here's the deal, right? In my opinion, when Cleveland goes up against Atlanta, if Atlanta's big three, if Capella comes out and plays good and does what he did, and if Herter and Bogdanovich could come out and do what they did, and if Trae could just make at least 40% of his shots, I don't think that Cleveland is going to have nowhere near enough to stop Atlanta. And I think Atlanta is going to have another really good win against them.
Especially if Allen isn't playing too, that's going to be a big factor. Because if Allen don't play,
that's going to be huge.
Capella's just going to out-rebound them for days.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely agree with you. Absolutely.
The thing that worries me about Atlanta against Cleveland is one thing yet is the Hawks have been terrible on the road. They play real good. They haven't played good on the road for some reason.
And Atlanta has to go to Cleveland, correct?
Yep.
I I still think Atlanta pulls this out. I think Ice Trey is going to come out there and heat it up. I'm not gonna say it's 100%, but if I was a betting man, I'm probably going to put my money on that horse. And then we had, let's see, what was the last game? We had the Spurs and the Pelicans. Man, I really wanted the Spurs to be able to do something this game, but it just, they just didn't have enough firepower to go up against NOLA. And let's be honest, man, Ingram had a pretty good game. Jones had an exceptional game. And your boy, CJ, just played well. I mean, just played well. And, they just didn't have enough on the Spurs side of it to combat it. They just couldn't stop it, to be honest with you. Murray played pretty well. He only got 16 points on 5 of 19, so he didn't play well enough, unfortunately. Then, Vassell, I thought he did pretty well. I didn't really see Primo. I haven't watched Primo a whole lot, so I don't really know what to think about Primo. But I really thought, again, it was a lack of shooting that really hurt them. Johnson had, 6 of 20? I mean, I think that's really just what kind of hurt them was the fact that they just could not get their shooting to go forward. And Ingram, like I said, 11 of 19 for 27. Then you had Valanciunas, who played a really good defensive game, had 14 boards on 22. And then, of course, you had, like I said, C.J. McCollum, who had 32 on 12 of 23. And that really was the biggest impact, I thought, was Jones, Ingram, and McCollum. I mean, those three guys, just like for Atlanta, were just playing at such a high level that the Spurs and poor Pop just couldn't control it, man. Gonzo?
Yeah, the Spurs, especially Murray, he missed some layups there in the first half, and then we came back to haunt the Spurs there toward the end of that game because it wasn't just Murray, but Murray missed 2 or 3 layups. A couple other people missed some, pretty good looks real in close that the Spurs usually don't miss. But the Pelicans were impressive. I watched that game last night. I was impressed. C.J. McCollum took that game over there for a stretch. And he was just driving to the goal, taking the contact, and still hitting the shot. So I think the Pelicans are going to win their next game and make the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the Pelicans, they're playing their best ball at the right time of the year, where the Clippers, they're not, other than Paul George, they don't have that one guy that is going to another guy that's going to step up and help that you can count on.
And again, I think the Lakers have still got to be, to some point, they got to be upset about watching how well Ingram and Randall and D'Angelo are all playing. They're all playing exceptionally well and doing big things outside of the Lakers. I mean, had they not gotten rid of them, where would they be? It's crazy, right? Logan, your thoughts?
Like Freddie said, Ingram is so underrated. Yes, he is. Spurs, like you said, they just didn't shoot the ball well. You mentioned Vassell, right? He had some Kyle Korver numbers, 7 of 15 from the field, but 7 of 13 from 3. So all he was shooting was right. He was just launching them, right, Jay?
Right.
But pretty, like I said, the Spurs just don't have that, that big superstar that can take games over. I like Murray, but he needs some help around there. They're still a young team. They need some better guys on that squad. Pelicans, like I said, good game. Ingram did good. Jones was solid. Valanciunas was doing his work. McCollum had a very good game. And, they just took over. Really good game for New Orleans. And happy they got the win. They're moving on. And, hey, are we going to see Zion, though, Jay? Because he was doing some nice 360 dunks in pregame.
Yeah. And that's the thing to me. I really think Zion could be playing right now, and for whatever reason, they're just not playing him. I guess we're going to see Zion next year for sure. But man, if you got a man who can do a 360 dunk, there's no reason why he shouldn't be on the floor. I'm just going to put that out there.
I'm about to say, if he can do a 360, I'm pretty sure he can do a jump shot or hit a lay. I don't know. I don't know.
Why do you let him out there do it? Why do you let him out there doing that if you're not going to play him?
I'm about to say, why would you let him do that whenever everyone's going to be talking about it? Oh
no, I totally agree with you, and I'm such an agreement. And okay, so here's the deal. Moving on to the next subject, staying in the basketball world of things. Luka will miss game 1 with the calf injury. I guess I don't know. He's going to miss game one against the Jazz. I personally, in my opinion, I think they're going to be okay with the Jazz. I think that they can survive, not having them there one game. But they're not going to be able to go a long distance without obviously having Luka. So he brings 28.5 points, 19 boards, and 8 assists to the table. Denwood's going to get the start, obviously, in game one, since he won't be able to go game one. And Denwood is going to give you about 15 points at 4 assists. So you're going to take a drop off in points. You're going to take a drop off in assists. I don't think Denwood is a big rebounder, so I don't know how that's. It's obviously it's going to affect them. I still believe that the Cavs are a good enough team that they can beat the Jazz, but without Luka out there, they're not going to be able to last long. So this is a big time injury for the Mavs. A calf injury, just depending. I think he's going to be back game 2. I'm not really too worried about it. But again, this is something definitely to keep an eye on going forward. Gonzo.
Yes, I think this is a real big deal because if he misses multiple games over this, the Mavericks could be in trouble against the Jazz. So I don't think they're going to beat the Jazz without Luka. You might be able to miss him one game, but if you start missing him where he misses maybe 2 or 3 games, I think
they're done.
Big deal.
Yeah.
I think too, this is gonna, even if he's not gonna be officially ruled out for multiple games, this is gonna be a lingering injury. It's a calf injury. He's going to be, jump shots, layups, everything you do in basketball. You need your legs, you need your calf for. And like I said, I think the Jazz will take game 1 now that we know he ain't gonna play. And if he's having a bad playoff, if he's going to be ruled out for multiple games, I'm easily going to take the Jazz, just because the Mavericks don't have that real number 2 on this team to really help and step up whenever your big player, your star player's down.
Right. Yeah, and again, like I said, I don't think it's going to be as bad. I think if it was bad, I think it would be they would come out and say, hey, it's going to be more than game 1. If they're just worried about him missing one game and there's not really a whole lot being reported about it, I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah, see, that's what to Logan's point though. Say he does come back from game 2, how effective is he going to be able to be?
Right.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a good point. How effective will it be? Look, nobody expects the Dallas Mavericks to get to the finals. Okay, I expect them to get past the Jazz. I expect them to get past the Jazz, but I think in round 2 is where the rubber meets the road, and I think they're going to struggle at round 2 anyway. I don't know. I'm not having high expectations on the Dallas Mavericks, to be honest with you, but I do hope he comes back and plays well, but. I got to be honest with you, I'm not really expecting a whole lot from him. Turning over to the Nets, they donate $50,000 to the subway shooting victims. As you know, thankfully, nobody has passed away from that, but there were quite a bit of people that were injured from it. And my heart goes out to those families. And, and it's awfully nice to see the Nets stepping up to donate money towards them. I don't know, man. 50,000. I think they could have came away with at least 200,000. But hey, I'm not trying to be greedy here, Gonzo.
No, I'm glad they done something. I just wish that teams because I'm not going to say all teams, but I wish more teams would step up and do stuff. Not wait till a tragedy happens for them to have to do something.
Right, absolutely.
I'd like to see more of these teams get involved in their communities more and help out.
John saying if Porzingis scored 24 against the Mavericks and Luke had 36 and they still lost, they're going to get blown up. They could. I think the Jazz probably could take it. Especially if Luke is going to struggle, I think the Jazz probably win the series. Damien said the Nets will sweep the Sixers when they face them. That is a bold prediction. Very bold, but I'm not surprised with that.
I'll tell you what, that's going to be a hell of a good series. I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, that's going to be one of the more exciting series just to see a healthy Durant go up against a scoring leader. Leader and Embiid. Oh my Atlanta!
How many people were injured in this shooting?
I believe 30, around 30, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, it was quite significant. Here's a deal.
That's probably not going to cover all their medical bill.
Oh no, $50,000. That won't do shit. Honestly, it really won't. That's why I was saying, like, it's a nice. I don't want to like downplay the Nets because they offered up something, but I felt like it should be a lot more because they know that $50,000 isn't going to do anything. But hey, I don't want to speak ill will. But here's the deal. I will say this: what I'm more concerned about is the fact, the lack of security and the lack of other things that probably could either prevent it or give more clarity to it. So I really think that the city of New York has got to do a better job with security around the subway and things of that nature. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, still rough to talk about, and still very real. A couple days later, right. I mean, this was, I believe it said the subway where it was at was right near the Nets training facility.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy.
So obviously, I mean, all the players and coaches and everyone on the staff is well aware of the area. I'm not going to knock them for if they should give more, if they should less. I mean, like I said, at least they're donating some money and they're helping out the cause.
I will say this that hopefully that, like I said, hopefully New York goes out there and steps up their security and starts to do more on the subway system itself. To hopefully this won't happen again. But let's be honest, man. We're at a point in this country and everything else that, I mean, anytime you have a major sporting event, I don't think we're out of the weeds with terroristic type activities and things like that. I mean, 9/11 has been, a hot minute, but let's be honest. I think the security in this country really needs to beef itself up all the way around because you just never know what's lurking out there. There's a lot of evilness out there,
Yep.
I feel you.
All right, folks. Moving on to hopefully a happier subject matter. Cam Newton's I guess not. Cam, man, Papa
spoke too soon, Jay.
I know, right? Hey, Cam Newton's comments about women.
Ooh, it was not very
fellas. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world, and I even tell you, I don't even understand half the stuff that women talk about these days. I don't know that I'm educated enough on women to make even a close educated guess as to what half of their conversations are about when they're speaking to me, because women are just different than men. But I will say this: even I am smart enough to know better than to say that. I'm just saying. And I put my foot in my mouth daily, but I would never say that. Ever. So Cam Newton basically comes out, complains about women who can't cook and don't know when to be quiet. $1 million worth of game podcast is when he is the podcast in which he made the comments. And he basically was saying that they need to know how to cater to a man's needs. Wow. Doesn't want a boss bitch, quote unquote. I'm just saying, listen, guys. The man has a hard enough time trying to make it to an NFL roster on his own merits. And then you put this quotation out there, or multiple quotations about women out there in a negative light. How in the hell? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know who Cam Newton's PR person is, or even if he has a public relations person. But if he does have one, that person needs to be fired ASAP. And if he doesn't have one, somebody in his close-knit group needs to speak to him about getting one, because he is doing incredible amounts of damage, not only to his marketability outside of football, but also his abilities to even land with the team, because they don't want to bring on that type of publicity. Crazy as it seems, Cam. But maybe you should get a PR person, I'm just saying, to help you make better decisions. Gonzo, your thoughts?
Yeah, he's man. This is the wrong time. This is the wrong, especially in the era that we're in, time-wise in this country. This is the wrong time to say something like that. And because you're right, probably all of his sponsors. He's going to lose a bunch of his sponsors. It's going to cost him a lot. And this isn't the first time that he's made sexist comments, or whatever you want to call them. If you remember back in 2017, a woman reporter asked him a question, and he said that he thought it was funny that a woman was trying to talk about football or something like that.
Oh, that's right.
So this isn't the first time that he's made comments like this. And they tried to cancel him back then, but now cancel culture is even worse. So I mean,
absolutely.
He's going to lose a lot of money over them comments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Freddie D says, Cam Newton just needs a tall glass of shut the fuck up. But it's true. It's true. Sometimes you just say things you shouldn't say. It's crazy to me. And pardon my French, but come on, Cam. Logan, your thoughts.
What's the rule that we all learned from our parents growing up, everybody? If you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all, right?
Yeah.
And Cam, once again, man, come on. Really? So he said all that in relation, Jay, because he said that's kind of how it was whenever he was raised as a child going up through in Georgia. And he said I had a perfect example of what a band was in my life by my father. My parents been together 36, 37 years now. He grew up in a 3-parent household, my mom, my father, and my grandmother. And I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch. Like, dude, come on.
Hey, listen, I grew up with women too, but I'm not going to go out there and say that kind of stuff.
It's, and like we were kind of saying, right, I don't know if he's going to get back on the field, Jay, for multiple reasons. One, he has not played good in recent years. Two, this. And because, I mean, let's not forget, Jay, now more than ever, we're seeing women in the front office, on the sidelines, a lot more reporters, a lot more just staff for teams. Do you think they're going to want to interact with him? No.
Exactly.
I mean, Jay, just look in the last 6 months, the last year, right? I mean, we've seen Rachel Balkovich be the minor league baseball coach for the Yankees organization. We saw the other night Ryan Howard get drafted number 1 overall, and they traded up to get her. And then we got Alyssa Nakin, right, for the first base coach for the Giants, who was the first woman ever to be on the MLB on the field.
There was that minor league game on Tuesday. The home plate umpire was a woman.
Yeah, and I forget her name, but the kicker for, I believe, Purdue last season or the year before in college football. So, yeah, this is not the best idea, not the best comment to say, obviously. Definitely, I'm sure I don't know if he'd take it back. But yeah, no, not a good look for Cam. And it's going to be even tougher for him to land on a team now, I think. So not the best thing to say, man.
Personally, I don't think he'll get back on a team because at this point in his career, I think he's a backup.
Yeah.
And no team's going to bring in a backup they're going to have to be answering questions about all the time. They don't want to have to hear about their backup quarterback. And that's going to be a problem with Cam because I just don't think he can be a backup quarterback because of that, because he's always going to be out and he's always doing something that causes a media stir.
Let me just say, if I may, with all the negative publicity that's out there about Cam, if he lands another job, how are we not bringing back Colin Kaepernick?
Yep.
I'm just saying, listen, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm pretty sure Kaepernick can still play, and I'm pretty sure that the negative publicity he would bring would be nowhere near that of what Cam Newton and several other football players have done in the NFL. I'm just saying, free Colin Kaepernick is my slogan, and I think it's time to bring Colin Kaepernick back and let the man resume his career. Stop blackballing him. I'm just gonna put that out there.
We got John Suggs said, "Is Baker going to be a starter or a backup this year?"
Yeah.
At the moment, he's a backup.
He's going to be a backup.
They said that Deshaun isn't going to be tried for anything during the season. So they're kind of went our thought of he'll be suspended for a few games, and that's why they're keeping on Baker. Maybe on draft night they'll do something, right? Maybe they'll trade Baker and a pick for something. I don't know. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, but I don't see him being a backup, man. I still think he's a starter. He had one bad year. Come on, he's still a starter.
I'm saying he's going to be he won't go to the backup role, but he will be a starter. But what's going to happen? I'm telling you, the Browns are going to keep him until they know definitively when Deshaun will be available to play. And once Deshaun is available to play, then they're going to switch over to Deshaun. And then at that time, they will most likely start fielding offers for Baker in terms of trading. They're going to need some sort of insurance policy to make them competitive until Deshaun Watson can get on the field and Baker gives them that best chance and he's still under contract.
Well, I'm about to. I mean, it sounds like Deshaun's gonna be able to play week 1. So unless something comes up between now
and hopefully, but you know, and that's the thing. Really, Roger Goodell really should come out with a decision as to whether or not they're going to do that before the draft, just to give the Browns an opportunity to make a more informed decision. You know, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the decision on Deshaun is going to come after the draft, and they're just going to have to eat this year's draft picks and trade it possibly for next year's draft picks. All right, folks, ladies and
is it going to be a better topic, Jay? Are we going to brighten up the mood?
Oh, I hope so.
Let's see.
No, it will not be.
Oh God, no.
Man, we're on a roll.
We're on a roll here. Negativity, everyone.
We are on a serious roll of depression. No, hey, look, but it needs to be talked about. Look, here's the deal, folks. You got Dan Snyder, who God knows who is just. I mean, literally, I don't even know how he's still. Look, if Steve Ballmer gets, if he's for, was a ball? No, what was the guy's name?
You were thinking Sterling.
Sterling. If Sterling can be forced to give up his team, how the hell is Snyder not? I'm just gonna say a few things about Snyder, and then I'll give you guys. Here's the deal. So this is what they got on him. The big thing about him is basically workplace misconduct. That's what's going on with Dan Snyder. They got a multi-million-dollar fine by the NFL already down from Congress. That's already been levied against them. 6 members. Huh?
Congress, Jay. Congress. I think you need to emphasize this. This isn't just the NFL anymore. This is the national government.
Right. But the NFL is the one that imposed the fine, correct?
Yeah.
Or was it Congress? I thought the NFL that imposed the fine.
I think the NFL imposed the fine, but they're still being looked at too with Congress.
Oh yeah, exactly. Look, this is still very much under Congress. Yeah, that part has it. That part's still ongoing. But yeah, 6 members have complained about Snyder. Brad Baker, the video production manager, was told by Snyder to edit together lewd footage for the Beauties on the Beach calendar documentary, and basically put it to Dan Snyder's favorite bands, soundtracks from his bands. And so basically you got what they call a softcore porn put together by the videographer of the team to the soundtracks of Dan Snyder's choosing. And that's pretty much the biggest claim. So you have, I believe it was Melanie. I think it was Melanie. It was her friend Coburn. Was basically invited to come to Snyder's personal residence. She was down in the basement. She was staying in the basement. I guess that's where she was staying the night because she had been at a party of Snyder's and was deemed too drunk to drive. So she stayed in the basement. Well, Dan Snyder and a few of the other people from the organization brought prostitutes over to the house, according to her, and basically had sex around them. The cheerleaders of the softcore porn said that their breasts and public areas were exposed on the lewd images that were put together by this calendar. So as you can see, Dan Snyder has got a lot of issues. There's also employees that have claimed that Snyder sexually harassed her. So she's got that. And then the FTC has come out and alleged that financial misconduct has been put on to the part of Dan Snyder as well. So you got the FTC after Snyder. You got Congress after Snyder. You got basically sexual allegations against Snyder. You got a lewd video being put out there by Snyder's videographer. I mean, how much more can a man do before he's forced to give up the team? I don't understand this. Gonzo, what do you think?
Was that Chris? He's still here, but he might have left. Oh, there.
Right. I think they should make him sell the team. I was talking about this last night. I don't understand why the owners don't come together. I mean, like in the NBA, when they got rid of Sterling, didn't like the owners got together and they voted?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, is something like that possible in the NFL?
I hope so.
I mean, I wonder if they got some kind of rule in where if a certain percentage of owners vote that you can be voted out.
I don't know. But no, Jay, put that comment up there by Damien. We got to address these. Hold on. We're not just skimming through these.
Which one? The first one?
Yeah. Go back up. What do you say here? Find it funny how people get mad at this. Talking about the camp thing, which is the right thing to do, but no one should tell a woman what they should do. But at the same time, everyone got mad at Will Smith for what he did for defending his wife. These are two.
Oh, they got mad at Will because he slapped the hell out of a man on national TV when he probably could have handled it a little bit differently there, Damien.
Yeah, this is apples to oranges, brother. These are two different scenarios here.
It's hard to take care of a guy when he slaps the hell out of somebody on TV. I'm just saying.
All right,
I think there was another one before this one, wasn't there?
Freddie basically said that it was fake news. I believe talking about Dan Snyder. I'm guessing. I mean, about Cam.
No, these are legit. I saw a video of the Cam Newton one. I mean, there's thousands of reports for Snyder. He said, considering an NFL team makes millions of dollars every year simply from TV, it would seem reckless to allegedly skim a few dollars off ticket revenue that amounts to a few $100,000 over 10 to 15 years. Organizational fine of $10 million by the NFL and a vague order from Snyder to remove himself from day-to-day duties with the team for an undetermined amount of time that Commissioner Goodell has never detailed, by Goodell acting like nothing will happen. This dude just flat out sucks, all right? I'm just going to say it. I mean, Jay, in the last year, we've seen at least 3 scandals, right? You mentioned the one with the women in the front office as well. Also, the more recent one with the financial record, basically them keeping 2 books and reporting one but not reporting the other, hurting other people's money, not just them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because it says here, I'm looking at an article on SB Nation. It says evidence now points to the organization manipulating its financial records in an attempt to avoid giving visiting teams their share of the revenue, as well as withholding refundable deposits from fans.
That's crazy.
Now you're hurting other teams' money. You're hurting the fans' money.
Sharing.
And also, too, they would. I think I saw that they would bring in college teams to play games at the stadium, and they would do the same thing. So they're hurting college, like, bro.
I think Dan Snyder's business practices should be under review. I mean, he's definitely the poster child of taking advantage of situations.
Damien said Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft need to watch their backs now. Are they next to the chopping block then, Damien? Is that what you're saying? And then Freddie said, okay, why these women wait to report? You have your cell phone down 911 to report the stuff. Is anyone suing for money? Is he talking about?
Well, I think that eventually will come out.
The Sean thing.
Sure I think eventually.
That sounds like the Sean more than Cam. Because I mean, Cam was just general comments.
No, I think he's talking about Dan Snyder.
Is he?
Yeah, he's talking about Dan Snyder. And in terms of the calendar, the girls on the calendar sheet that were found, and also the girl who had the sexual assault that says that she was sexually assaulted by him. I would have to imagine, and they probably are suing. I would imagine that this.
I'm sure. It's just like there's so much going on with this organization and just him that it's a lot to keep up with, Jay. It really is. John said earlier this year, reports stated that that Virginia was ready to offer up $1 billion in public money to lure Snyder's Commanders to the Commonwealth. So what is? I'm
really surprised he didn't go to the Commonwealth, to be honest with you.
I mean, the evidence is stacking up. This dude, Donald Sterling, no one can beat me, be worse than me. I don't know, man. Sterling's like obviously the worst of the worst because he actually got banned for life. Snyder ain't there. But I definitely think that he is probably the worst owner in the league at the moment. And I mean, it's not like all of them are angels by any means, but he ain't looking too good. And I would hope he would sell the team. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Give the franchise a fresh start,
don't they?
I mean, now that, like we said, you have the federal government looking into it, not just the NFL anymore. You're getting like the largest group in the world for tracking people down.
We haven't even heard what came out of the rest of that investigation where they ended up getting Gruden out of it. I'm sure we're going to find out more stuff about Washington out of that as well.
Oh, yeah, because they said they were linked to that too.
But, I'm sure there's a lot of things about Dan Snyder that have not come to fruition, but I guarantee you it's going to all come out. Nothing's going to stay behind. So nothing would in the
shadows.
Yeah, nothing's going to surprise me coming out about Dan.
No, it won't.
It might not come out because I think it involves a bunch of the coaches or a bunch of the owners. I mean, so that might not come out. The NFL might keep it from coming out because it might implicate a bunch of their owners.
Hey, it's gonna be interesting though, man, because it is not good. As for Washington, man, as for the team itself, right, strictly on the field, we'll see what they can do. They got some fresh new jerseys, a new name. Just as we were all kind of getting used to the football team, right? They switch it up. So let's go Manders, right? Yeah, we rock with that. No.
Yeah. Oh, well. It's going to be interesting, folks. Hey, moving on back to the NBA. I know we're kind of all over the place today, but moving back over towards the NBA, let's talk about some award predictions that, will come out here, I would imagine, shortly. I'm going to give you my awards, and then, of course, we'll go Gonzo's awards, and then Logan, your awards as well. And if you're in the comments section, hey, put your awards up. Who you think gets what? It'd be interesting to see what you guys vote on as well. For MVP, look, I've been adamant about Joker for a long time now about him getting MVP.
Are we saying what we think should happen or what we think is going to happen?
No, this is what we think is going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. Actually, we'll do this award by award. We'll just do it one word. So I got Joker for my MVP. Gonzo, who do you think?
I think it should be Joker.
I've got Jokic winning back-to-back.
I'm afraid that they're going to give it to Embiid, but I think it should be Joker.
I think they're kind of leaning more towards Jokic. I think that he'll get it. I mean, he's been a phenomenal player, obviously, and I think that some of the love just kind of wore off on him because the Nuggets weren't the highest seed as opposed to the other teams and the other guys in the discussion. But I think overall, as a valuable player, it should be how good were you on the team, and for the Nuggets to miss their number 2 starting player, and for them to still be right in the middle of the pack there in the West. I mean, that's a valuable player to me. So
not just their number 2. Not just their number 2. They're missing pretty much their number 3 as well, and Michael Porter Jr.
That's true. John said, I guess we'll do this one next, Jay. He said, who do you think gets Rookie of the Year, Cade Cunningham or Scotty Barnes?
Yeah, that's who I had next anyway. Rookie of the Year, my Rookie of the Year, just solely based on what he's done and where his team is positioned, I'm going with Evan Mobley, man. I think Evan Mobley he's put up 15 points, 8 boards, and 2.5 assists. And he's also putting up some blocks, I think 1 to 2 blocks. So I like Evan Mobley, man. I like what he's doing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think a lot of that team does go through him. So I got Evan Mobley for mine. Gonzo?
I agree with you, Jay. I like Evan Mobley. He's had a good year and it's contributed to a winning season. It's contributed to a winning, and he's been a big part of the turnaround there in Cleveland. So I like Mobley as well.
I like Mobley, but just because Detroit is where dreams go to die, I want them to get something nice. I'll give it to Cunningham. He started off rough in the beginning of the year, but he really turned around lately. And I get the Pistons suck. But he might, like I said, give him something nice. Like I said, Mobley had a really good year, and also Scotty Barnes in Toronto had an underrated year too. But I think all 3 of them will do fine. John saying Freddie has MVP for LeBron James. Okay, very very new, very original take there. He's got Giannis, not a bad pick. He said MVP is about what you have done and what you have done for your team. It's always been a blend award of best talent with how much that affects your team in the standings. That's why Bill Russell beat Wilt Chamberlain so often when Wilt could do everything better than Russell. John would go with Embiid, but probably he's going to go to Jokic.
In my opinion, I feel like, LeBron, had the Lakers not been as bad as they were, that Braun could be in contention because he has put up good numbers.
Oh, he's had a really good year.
But the problem with Braun is twofold. Number one, he's been quite injury prone this year, so he's missed a lot of games. But also the position in which his team fell into really just took him completely out of consideration, and that's why you're not going to see Braun in there. Giannis, I like Giannis, but I just feel like Joker and what he means to where that team is. Yeah, I agree. Bill Russell versus Wilt Chamberlain. I agree with that as well.
Damien's got Jalen Green for Rookie of the Year out there, and
Jalen Green put up good numbers. He hasn't put up bad numbers, but I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, look, both the Detroit and Houston are both in rebuild modes, and Cade Cunningham, unfortunately, Cade's numbers have been better. It just is what it is.
This is why I think the NBA needs to do something about this, because I'm tired of hearing from everyone on every channel about, well, if your team sucks, does that make you worthy of an award? You know what I mean? So I feel like if you have a really good season, you still need to be valued for what you've done. I mean, if you score 30 points a night and 10 rebounds, 10 assists, but your team's won 5 games the whole year, I mean, I feel like we still need to look at the individual performance as opposed to the team. Because, I mean, for you, that team would suck. Freddie, I'm guessing, is going with I guess he's just talking
about John Morant. Like, what's our thoughts on John Morant being MVP?
Not MVP, not this year. If he can get a consistent jump shot, he will be deadly for many years.
Yeah. Also, the thing about John Morant, not only does he have a little bit more development to do, but also his team played extremely well without him. Yeah, I mean, they had a winning record even without him, and I think because his team is so strong that his need or his necessity to that team is not as high as what Joker or even Embiid is. And I think that really counts against him. Unfortunately, it's the same thing with Devin Booker. I mean, Devin Booker has a legitimate case as well, but I think Chris Paul and how well the Phoenix Suns are playing just kind of eats into that.
Yeah. John said Barkley won MVP of Jordan 93, and we know they are not even close. LOL.
Oh, I agree. I trust me. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't know how the round mound of Chuck and whatever it is, what it is.
Yeah.
But okay.
Well, it's because the media will start pushing a narrative, and steam builds up behind it.
Yeah. I mean, Jay, what did I tell you on Tuesday?
Just
Joel
like when
Westbrook,
Westbrook averaged a triple-double and got MVP. He wasn't the most valuable player, but it was all because the media was making such a big deal about him averaging a triple-double.
And that's what I was telling. I've told y'all before back in the season that it's not like Westbrook's stats dropped. I mean, he had pretty average numbers in every category. It's not like he fell off the face of the earth. It's just that we would always see highlights of his turnovers, of his hitting the backboard 6 times on a shot,
Right.
And we wouldn't see as much of the flashy plays we would see back when he was in OKC and whatnot. And that's just the way of the land. And like I told you on Tuesday, Joel Embiid is not my scoring champ. Trae Young is my scoring champ because he led the league in points scored in total and as well as assists. I'm just saying.
I totally agree with you. I do. What about Luka?
What about Luka?
Luka's right there with John Morant. I mean,
I think he'll get one in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I do too. I just
It'd be a shame if he doesn't.
It's just not his time yet, and I think
don't forget, Damon. He's only 22, so there's plenty of time
for the scoring title. They go by your average, right?
Yes, points per game as opposed to just points, which I think is that's kind of ludicrous. All right, Joe, what's our next award?
Yeah, so the next one would be Defensive Player of the Year. And then for that one, I got Mikal Bridges as my Defensive Player of the Year. He's just done extremely well with the Suns on the defensive side of the ball. Gonzo, who do you got for Defensive Player of the Year?
Oh, Defensive Player of the Year.
This is a tough one because this could go a bunch of ways.
It really could, honestly.
I'm gonna say Gonzo. While you
let me think about it for a second.
I'm gonna go. I like Bridges, man. I do like Bridges, but I like to go a little bit different. I'll go with Marcus Smart out there in Boston. If he wins this, Jim, I'm looking at an article here. If he wins this, he'll be the first guard to win it since 1996.
Is that right?
And that was back with the glove, Gary Payton.
I'm guessing that probably normally falls to either a forward or a center. Is that who they typically give it to?
I believe so, yes, because Gobert's won it 3 times or 3 years in a row, 3 of the last 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give it to Smart. Give it to a perimeter defender. I mean, I get that bigs are, they're valuable to your team, but this isn't like it was 15, 20 years ago, even further. We're seeing guys post up every day. I mean, now bigs are just guys to swat layups and get rebounds and blocks, as opposed to, being more all around. That's just how the game's gone. As for Smart, we all know he's been a tenacious rebounder since college. One of the best perimeter guys. And I mean, like you said with Bridges, I think that my two picks is kind of what John said. It's between Smart and Bridges. I mean, that's a toss up to me. If it goes to anyone else, I feel that those two got wronged. But I would just give the edge to Smart in this case, just because. I mean, why not? Why not?
No, I definitely agree with you. So Gonzo, who we got for defensive player of the year?
I'm going with Marcus Smart.
All right.
I was trying to decide between the two, but I'm going to go with Smart because I think he brings an attitude as well to the Celtics. He also is a grit player that kind of like what Draymond Green does for the Warriors.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're not going to go wrong picking Marcus Smart. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's not a bad pick at all. I mean, let's be honest. It means a lot to the Boston Celtics as a whole anyway.
But if you take Mikal Bridges off Phoenix, they're going to miss him a lot as well. So
that's a good point. Yeah, I think this is a 2-horse race, and I think it's a toss-up. Honestly, good luck with the voters.
I think yeah, go Tyler Hero.
For the 6-man.
I don't have. Yeah. That's one I did not vote on. So let's go ahead and look at that right quick. 6-man.
Hero. I got Hero. He's had a phenomenal.
But Cam Johnson does mean a lot to the Suns, though. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
But I know what Tyler Hero means to the Heat as well. And he's had such a phenomenal season. I'm going to go Hero on this one. I am.
Going with Hero?
My heart is telling me Hero.
Yeah, I'm going with Tyler Hero. I think he'll get it. Also, Damien said, "Whoa, Luka is the only person carrying that team of Dallas in the playoffs, and he shouldn't be in MVP talks." No, Damien, if you watched the show last week, me and Jay had a whole topic about this. That's all I'm gonna say, Jay. Go watch the other show, Damien. So,
Tyler Hero's numbers for this season are 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Right. So, obviously, that's some hellified numbers for a 6-man. I look at, and then of course you go to Cam Johnson, and he's putting up 12 points, 4 and 1. So, if you want to just kind of base it off of stats alone, then I'm definitely gonna go with Hero. I think Hero just is what he's doing for that team is just stupid.
I got Hero's been in the lead for me pretty much the whole year, but I think Johnson's right there, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Hero, like you said, because the Heat. I mean, I get they're both number 1 seeds, but I feel like the Heat if they didn't have Hero, they wouldn't be nearly as good as opposed to if the Suns didn't have Johnson. You know what I mean?
Right. And to be fair to what Damien is saying, I get it. Without Luka, Dallas isn't going anywhere. Just like Joker, they're not going anywhere. But you also have to look at their number, and I don't have my stats anymore. Joker was outperforming Luka and the numbers and the stats. And Damien, I would implore you to go look at the stats. But it's not only is he improving them on the stats, but look what Joker does. He's a big man that can also play the guard, for crying out loud. He can play the point, for crying out loud, because his ball handling skills are just that good. Do you think Luka could hold down the center position? Probably not.
I don't know. Ain't no way.
I mean, literally, Joker could play 1 through 5 and has played 1 through 5. And if Joker would be giving up so many assists, he'd probably be your scoring title leader.
I'm going to say it, Jay. I'm going to say it. And I feel like that kind of the run that Joker's been on is kind of like what the one LeBron is, in the way that even though LeBron didn't win the MVP award every year, he was the most valuable player in the league. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like Jokic is kind of getting into that trend now. And I mean, God, I mean, don't forget Giannis is still there too. And he could do pretty much everything Jokic can, just a little bit less, right? I mean, those two could be battling it out for years for this award, to be honest here.
Especially if Giannis improves his jump shot.
Oh yeah, then that's gonna be even more fun to watch, man. It's gonna be crazy. Okay, we got I think 2 more awards left. we have Coach of the Year, and then we're gonna do Most Improved Player, and then we'll call it on this one. So which one do y'all want to do first?
Yeah. So my Coach of the Year is Monty Williams. I just feel like Monty Williams, what he's done with the Suns last year and what he's doing with the Suns this year, and the fact that he has the best record in the league and improved upon what he did already a stellar season. I don't know how, and obviously he knew the need that he needed to address was a center, and he went out and got a couple of backup centers to back up Ayton. Has just made this team an all-around team, and I don't know who does better. So I definitely got Monty Williams. Gonzo, who do you have?
I like Taylor Jenkins for the Grizzlies.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think there was anybody expected the Grizzlies to be where they are now in the playoffs this year. I still think everybody thought it was going to be a couple years before they were more of a contender. Where with the Suns, I mean, we kind of expected the Suns to be back. I mean, they were in the finals last year, so we were expecting when they didn't lose a whole lot. So we were expecting them to be up there. Not taking nothing away from Monty Williams. I just think with Jenkins, he's got a lot out of his team quicker than what anybody expected.
Mm-hmm. I think they're going to give it to Williams just because, like you said, Monty Williams, he's had a tremendous year with a great team. I mean, the Suns blew the doors off everyone in the West. It was so bad that, I'm not going to say bad, but the Eastern Conference was looked at as the tougher conference this year because the Suns were so dominant. So I'm going to give it to Williams. I like your pick of Jenkins out there in Memphis, Chris. That's a good one. But I want to give another shout out to someone who I think should at least get some votes, and that's Chris Finch in Minnesota.
Yeah, you're not going to go wrong with that either.
No, because Minnesota last year they were 23-49, and this year they went. Let me see here, 46-36. So that's 20 plus wins better. I know that they made the play-in game, and obviously they're still moving on. But if he keeps continuing making this team better, he could honestly get this award in a year or two, maybe. You never know. But I feel like he should at least get a couple of votes. All right,
yeah,
then Most Improved.
I'm going. You know what? Hey, just because where he was at with San Antonio and where he's at with the Bulls is like night and freaking day. I'm going with DeMar. I'm going DeMar.
Oh,
I'm going DeMar. Because let's be honest, nobody was talking about freaking DeMar DeRozan and San Antonio. And he goes to the damn Bulls, and now we can't get enough of DeMar. To the point where even some people are saying, why is he not in the MVP conversation?
This is the first half I'd agree with you. Cool off.
So I'm for DeMar, man, just because of where he was at last year and the year before, and now where he's at now, and how much I just don't know anybody playing better than him, and he wasn't doing it. I don't know. I'm going to DeMar DeRozan on those reasons. Gonzo.
Ooh, nice one, John. I
I
forgot
like
about
Jordan
Udoka.
Poole.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Who you going with?
Jordan Poole from the Warriors.
Okay, that's a good one.
Throughout his career, he averaged 13 points a game. This year, he averaged almost 20 points a game, and he's had a big impact on that Warriors team, especially earlier in the year before Thompson was back. And even when Thompson back, he's been playing real well. But I think Jordan Poole should get it. I know I've heard some people say John Morant, but John Morant, he averaged 21 points last year. Now he's averaging 25, 26. It's an improvement, but is it the most most improved? Most improved,
right.
Right. And I do agree. I don't want to go back, but with what they're saying with Taylor Jenkins, with the Memphis coach. You can't go wrong saying Taylor Jenkins. You just can't.
Also, that was a good comment by John talking about Udoka from the Celtics. So that was his first year coaching. He did good.
I see that one.
Yeah, and they turned it around because at the beginning of the season it looked like they might go the other way.
Yeah,
and then the Celtics got hot.
You're not wrong. For me, like I said, I like Jordan Poole. I feel like he might get it. I kind of feels kind of wrong giving it to Morant, doesn't it? In a way, feels a little bit wrong to the other players.
Yeah.
John has Desmond Bane, Tyrese Maxey, or Jordan Poole. I'll throw another young name in the mix just because. Darius Garland in Cleveland, we talked about a little bit earlier, had a good game. He had a really good year this year. Averaged 21 points, 8 assists, which is 2 more than last year. and it's not. And he turned the ball over only 3 times. Shoots. Let me see. Field goal percentage 46, 3-point percentage 38, 39. I mean, it's another name to consider. But if I had to pick who's I think is going to win it, I would want Jordan Poole to win it just because he goes on really good hot streaks, and he was really helpful for the Warriors whenever Curry struggled this year and Clay as well.
Right.
So I would like for them to give it to Jordan Poole. And I mean, if they give him to, like I said, if they give it to Morant, I feel like that's kind of going to be cheating other players in a way, kind of like the not superstar players, you know. But we'll see how it ends up. He says no one chose Westbrook. No, we did not. That's that's the least improved.
Yeah, I'm about to say that. Hey, that's the one who went in reverse mode. If there was a reverse mode player of the year, we would definitely be talking about Westbrook.
He'd be our consensus number 1.
Hey, real quick, I don't think this is an award, but I was thinking about if there was is there an offensive player of the year? Is that an award? I don't know if that's is that an award or not.
Nah, that's just.
Well, I would say this: if there was an offensive player of the year, I'm going Trae Young on that. That's just what Logan's point is. Even though his average points per game wasn't the highest, his overall points was, and I don't know how you don't give that to him.
I'm with you, Jay. I ain't gonna go in the depth, but I'm with you.
All right, folks. So those are our awards. Did you have something? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying the comment there from Damien. He said most improved is Kobe White. Not bad pick.
All right, folks. That was our awards predictions. We'll have to wait and see what actually comes to fruition. But all in all, man, in the comments section, a lot of good choices out there as well as good on board. So we shall see, folks. Which Major League Baseball team will make the biggest jump forward this year? In my opinion, the Phillies right now are at 500. They're 3-3, and of course, I don't know if they play tonight. I think they may even play tonight, so I don't know how they're playing. But I feel like the Phillies' only downside really still is kind of like their pitching. But what they've done on the offensive side is good enough to keep them in the game. So I think the Phillies make the biggest jump, in my opinion. This year, whether or not they get into the playoffs, I don't know. But they weren't exactly all that good last year, so I got them making the biggest jump, in my opinion. Gonzo, what team do you think is going to make the biggest jump?
I think it's going to be the Detroit Tigers.
Detroit?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they added Baez. That gives you a good shortstop. Plus, he can hit the ball. They also added Eduardo Rodriguez and Tucker Barnhart. So that's another good pitcher and a 2-time Golden Glove catcher. I just think with what they had last year and what they've added, I really like the Tigers.
Yeah, I can see the Tigers, doing something this year. Obviously, we definitely see the Blue Jays doing something this year, so there's no doubt about that. Logan, who's your team to make the jump?
Oh man, this is tough. Like I said, I like the Tigers. I think they are gonna be really good. Torkelson hit his first home run the other night. Happy for him.
Yeah.
But I think most improved. They had a pretty good year last year. Just missed the playoffs. So a team I think will definitely get in this year is the Seattle Mariners. I think they will make it. They will end that long drought, and they will finally make it to the playoffs. Like I said, they did great last year, 90 wins. But I think a big jump for them is just finally making the playoffs. Finally,
yeah. They added a Cy Young winner and Robbie Ray. They also added an All-Star second baseman Adam Frazier as well.
Yeah, I mean they've looked really good, and Jay, and I mean it would not surprise me if they're competing for that AOS title with you this year, brother. Because I mean it's a 2, maybe 3 team race. You could guess. I mean Astros are good. The A's are. They're not. I mean, they're 4-3 right now.
The A's are horrible, Logan.
I know.
We're gonna talk about the A's here in another topic, but yeah, they're horrible.
I got you. Yeah,
horrible.
The Angels are 500 at the moment, but I would hope that with Ohtani and with Trout hopefully healthy the whole year, they could do some damage. I just worry about that pitching. They don't have much of a pitching staff to speak of. The Rangers made a couple of moves, but I don't think it's enough to kind of jump over any of the other teams. So I'm going to go with the Mariners. I think the Mariners will make the playoffs this year, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be that was another team I was kind of thinking about was the Mariners. That was on my list of teams that could possibly make the jump as well. I just for some reason, man, I'm just leaning towards Philly. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. Right now, they're losing to the Marlins 3-1. So
okay.
I don't know. Hey, I don't know how good that prediction is.
I was about to say. Let's see. John said the Blue Jays looking hot so far, but I think the Tigers can make a big jump since. Yeah, but they had a really good second half last year. Damien said the Red Sox, much to our guy Frankie's chagrin. And then John also said, "Hey, they've done horrible moves, but second is Oakland. They beat Tampa by 3. Oh, they beat the Rays 3 out of 4." Damien said the Rockies. I still think the Rockies still need a few pieces. So especially to compete in the NL West, honestly. So not quite yet. Maybe next year if they make some smart moves, if they draft good. But I don't think the Rockies going to be able to compete in the NL West yet. It's still a 3-team race of the Giants, the Dodgers, and hopefully the Padres can get it together this year and not fall off a cliff like they did last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And and like I said, with the A's, look, everything you can have a good series. I just think overall, I just don't, with the amount of talent that they've gotten rid of, I just don't see them going far.
No, trust me, I'm not saying Oakland is going to be the most improved team this year. I am not saying that. That's what John or whoever said.
Yeah, and then of course John goes on to say no Rockies always start hot every year, but
the Rockies have just never had a really good pitcher. They've really never had good pitching, and that's just
they've had other good like positional players, but pitching has just never been.
Mean, they got Chris Bryant. He'll probably hit 40 home runs this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But absolutely. I mean, they've never been able to get a really good pitcher in that ballpark. Besides, like the most recent one is Ubaldo Jimenez, like 10 plus years ago, back when he won the Cy Young or whatever. But like they've never had a good pitching staff ever. And the thing about it is well, no, I'm not. We're gonna move on real quick. All right, does anybody have anything left to say about what teams are gonna jump? Are we good on that topic? Yeah, I'm good on it. John said, does Soto hit 40 home runs or more this year for the Nationals?
Oh man, that's a good question.
As long as they're not against the Braves, I'm fine with it.
You know what? Soto's such a. I think I actually had Soto as my MVP for the National League. So I would not be surprised. Honestly, I would not be surprised if he does do that or even eclipses that. To be honest with you, Soto's a very phenomenal player.
Plus, he's super. I mean, that's the thing is we're getting there's a lot of talent in baseball now that's like super young and really good. Because Soto's only 23,
and the small these parks are now. A lot of these parks now are turning into hitters parks. So, and the way now the way some of the balls are used are lighter. I mean, it's crazy.
Last year, Soto hit 29. His career high was 2019. He had 34. Ooh, we'll see. Let me see. He's hitting it this year. 2 this year so far. 7 games. So, I think we'll get it. I think he would. I think he's got a good shot. He's getting stronger. He's going to get stronger and even better this year.
And then we go into Major League Baseball. What I was talking about earlier with the A's has MLB's CBA prevented tanking, and I don't think it has, and I don't think it ever will. Prevent tanking. I mean, you just saw the A's pretty much get rid of all their best players for picks. You saw the Reds get rid of a number of their good players for picks and things of that nature. So there's still teams out there that are always going to be tanking to get that better draft position for their farm system and whatnot. So and there's no way you can prevent that. How do you prevent teams from tanking? How do you say if a team wants to let go of a player, how do you say no? I mean, are you going to start monitoring and telling what teams can make trades and what teams can't? I don't think you can't. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. So there's no way you can prevent that. Gonzo?
Yeah, they tried with that new rule to try to prevent it, but even with that rule, you still have that lottery where like the worst you can get is a 6th or 7th pick or something like that. That's still a lot better than being way back in the league.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So to me, that's not you haven't tilted it enough where it's not beneficial, where there's no way that it could be beneficial to tank. And some of these teams have proven that you can not be good for 3 or 4 years, get a bunch of collect draft picks, and develop your team and still have success.
Look, you can go ahead and say it. You're not going to offend me. The Astros did it. Let's be honest.
Oh,
the Astros blew up their
lost
whole
100
team.
games, like 3 seasons in a row.
Look, they blew up that entire team. The entire team. And they collected all those picks. They built up their farm system.
It worked.
And all of a sudden, they go from last place to first place. And last year, they lost 100 games. So how do you go from losing 100 games one year, and then now you're what? In second, first place this year? I don't like tanking. I don't approve of it, but sometimes it does work.
John said the Astros got new trash cans to help them.
Hey, you hush your mouth. Don't you be pissed off because we perfected the system, okay?
The system of cheating, yeah.
No, there you go.
You
know what? No, I'm not going that way with you because you know what? You're picking on me right now. And I don't appreciate it. Because when Frankie's on here, you don't pick on him about the New York Yankees. And why do we gloss over that?
I can't get a word in, Jay. You're always bickering with him. Chris, you can attest. You can agree with me.
I don't see how. This is the year of Logan Landers' assertiveness. I'm already hearing him use words I've never heard him use before. It's crazy.
Damien said, question, can somebody please explain what is wrong with tanking when it helps teams get – it does not always help teams get better. Don't you say that.
I'm not saying – look, it's still an art form. It's still an art form to draft the right people into your system. You have to know how to still do that.
But what's wrong with tanking is that goes back to the integrity of the game. It's supposed to be a competition to see who's best, not a let's lose all the games we can to try to get better. It's supposed You're supposed to go out there and play every game and try to win.
I mean, but let me ask you this. Gonzo, I want you to think about something for a minute, okay? And I'm not saying, I'm not saying tanking is right. But when I got a team like the Yankees who have exorbitant,
they're never going to tank.
Watch this. They have exorbitant amount of money to where God knows they can run a small country off of what the Yankees have. And also the same thing with the LA Dodgers. The LA Dodgers have more money than they know what to do with. Mm-hmm. And then I take a team like the Astros, who are not a small market team, but they're a mid-market team. They're a mid-market team. How do you compete for free agency when you got players who can get outpaid at every different position by all these teams, and the Astros can't compete with that, number one. Number two, a lot of people find the prestige of playing with the Dodgers or a Yankees organization, so they're probably going to go that direction over the Astros. So the Astros say, okay, look, I can't compete with the Yankees financially. I can't compete with the Yankees on a prestige level. So what am I going to do? I'm going to tank. I'm going to build my team through the farm system, and I'm going to try to beat them with my farm. So even you have to look at it like this. Yankees got the money for free agency, and we try to build through the farm. Either way, you've got to figure out some kind of way for these small market teams to compete. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you do it. I really don't know how you do it.
Because I mean, let's be honest. If I can pay you on every free agent out there, what can you do?
And that Jay, that's why the Reds trade everyone. That's why Oakland trades everyone every 2 seasons. Once you get some trade value, they ship you out of town.
Logan, is what the Astros did by tanking, as some people may see it as not being competitive, in my opinion, is competitive. Because we said, okay, I can't compete with you financially. I can't compete with you in the prestige level. So I'm going to compete with you through my farm. And the only way I can get the farm is by tanking to come back. So, and let's be honest, like you said, even though you're tanking, you may pick the wrong people. There's no guarantee through tanking.
There is no guarantee. You're right. You have to be able to draft good. If you're if you're a low market team who cannot attract free agents, who doesn't have the money, doesn't have the prestige, right? You have to be able to draft good, whether your team sucks or whether your team is decent. You have to hit it good in the draft.
Look at the Philadelphia 76ers. They've had 4 number 1 draft lottery
Only
picks.
2 of them were good. Really?
Exactly. Only 2 of them.
I'm glad you brought up the Sixers. They've been trusting the process for 12 years. It seems like.
And they have
the Sixers, though, are the best organization to prove that even though you have the lottery picks, it doesn't mean that you're going to rise to be the creme de la creme.
Right, because they've never even gotten to the conference finals. Let's not forget that, let alone get to the finals. But
I don't blame people for tanking. I blame people for giving up. And if you tank and you just don't produce something out of that tank, then yeah, you're an idiot because you tank and you still suck.
John said the Orioles have been tanking since Cal Ripken Jr. No, don't say that, John. They had a decent run in the early 2010s. Y'all won, let me see, how many games was it? Y'all won 96 games in 2014. You went to the ALCS.
He said you can tell your Bears to keep that. I wish Mike Hughes was on this show.
I'm about to say, yeah, we need Mike. If tanking is bad, why are the Suns and Lions looking good right now? I wouldn't say the Lions are looking good. I mean, they went, 13-1 last year. That's not looking good. You can say they look good on paper, but we haven't seen it on the field.
Right.
And also the Suns sucked for many years. But what do, guys? They got Devin Booker. They got DeAndre Ayton. Then they got Chris Paul and a bunch of other guys they drafted look at the Warriors. I'm saying this is like the early Warriors. They drafted Draymond Green. They drafted Steph Curry. They drafted Klay Thompson. They didn't go out and pay for those guys. You draft good, you win chips, and you get those free agents like Kevin Durant and everyone to come on over. That's how you do it. I mean, if you're on a big team and if your team is producing, you'll get some free agents. But you have to produce first.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you.
So, no, the MLB has not prevented tanking. And like I said earlier, that's why the A's, that's why the Reds, that's why the Rockies, that's why the Orioles, all of the lower tier market teams that no one really ever thinks of, that's why they're always at the bottom. And that's, like I said, it all depends on the draft. If you can draft good, you get talked about, you do fine. I mean, the Tigers have sucked for years, and now we're saying that they could possibly be an improved team but it's taken them a few years. So
right, absolutely.
So, answer your question, no.
All right, folks. We are now at the NXT recap. And this is where they look like the experts and I look like a complete idiot, but we're gonna do it anyway.
They'd be like that.
All right, so NXT. This is what I wrote down from NXT.
Notes, Jay.
All right, I don't have a lot of notes because I have a hard time following, but this is what I got. I got Gunther challenges Ron Breakker, and I like Gunther. Gunther is just he's so military the way he does. Always goes to parade dress and does all that kind of craziness. But at the end of the day, the only thing I wrote down from was that he challenged Ron Breakker, and Ron Breakker beat Gunther for the title. Again, Logan, you might want to expand more on that. I kind of caught the tail end of that Gunther match. It wasn't very much to it, honestly, but
Jay, I think that was the week prior, buddy.
Oh, is it no, Gunther took on Ron Breakker, didn't he?
That was not this week. That was the week prior.
Oh, shoot. I wrote the wrong one.
He looked at the wrong one, Chris.
I did. Stop it. I did get Creed Brothers versus Emporium.
That was last week. Yep. That was last week, Jay.
I'm on the wrong one then.
Jay,
all right, why don't you fill us in? Hey, Logan, take the NXT because I obviously watched the wrong episode.
I would say Jay did a rewatch. All right, let me find it here. So NXT, it was Championship Week. Cameron Grimes versus Solo Sikoa. Decent match, right? Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes came out and they distracted Sikoa, who looked like he's about to win. Cameron Grimes took advantage of the distraction, got the win. Decent match, about 15 minutes or so. Afterwards, they beat up Cameron Grimes and everyone else. So it is what it is. Let me keep rolling here. Up next, the next match, I'm not going to go through the vignettes backstage. Von Wagner versus Eichmann Jiro. Von Wagner won in under 3 minutes. Don't care. On to the next one. Women's Championship, Dakota Kai, Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose got the win in about 10 minutes or so. Mandy Rose looking pretty dominant, I will say, Chris. She's been on a pretty good winning streak. And it looks like they're going to have her hold on to the title for a little bit longer. Also, after the match, you had Wendy Chu come out and spray people with a squirt gun. So this is what we're looking at for wrestling now today, gentlemen. Joe Gacy is just chilling backstage. He stole the Hall of Fame ring from Rick Steiner and burnt it. And then turns out he took it back out and put it back on his finger. Obviously, it is not the real ring. Afterwards, our next match, we got Draco Anthony and Zion Quinn. It was just kind of there, to be honest. Anthony got the win in about 3 minutes. I mean, like I said, who cares? You also get Natalia coming out, right? She's been on the roster for a long time. Natalia coming down to NXT and is gonna go against Cora Jade. Looks like they're gonna set that up. She put her in the sharpshooter, made her tap out, even though it was just a beatdown. It wasn't much of a match. Then we get the gauntlet match for the vacant tag titles. Talked about last week how MSK had to relinquish them because Nash Carter is no longer with the company. He got fired. So we had a tag team gauntlet tournament for the championship, and the winner is Pretty Deadly, who were in NXT UK. Never really watched them much, and they won it in a pretty good match, about 30 minutes long or so. And so they are your new tag team champions at the end of the day. So, I mean, it was a decent match. They beat the Creed brothers at the end. That was the last kind of go of it. But, I mean, it was all right. I wouldn't say it was anything super special that you need to go out your way and watch this. Maybe the tag match, maybe the gauntlet match, because, like I said, it was pretty good. But, I mean, other than that, it was What do you got, Chris?
I really liked the gauntlet match. I thought the gauntlet match was put together real well. And also, I also liked the Sokoa and Cameron Grimes.
I wish they could have went longer. Maybe that would have been good. Maybe like 20.
Them were probably my two favorite matches out of the whole card on NXT. But that tag team gauntlet match, I thought it was awesome. I thought they really put it. It was put together well, and they told the story well.
Yeah. We got comments coming in here. Damien said he was talking to Anthony saying, "We've been ranking. Why do you think Pace and Nagy aren't here anymore?" Ouch. Also, Jay, we're not bringing that comment up. That Damien.
Oh, my bad.
We are not bringing that up. Not
no,
that.
No, I won't bring it up. I won't bring it up.
I'm sick of it. We're not doing this anymore on the show. We do it off the air, but not no.
Oh, okay. No.
You know what? You see it, Chris. But I said, we're not doing that on the air. We already beat that horse dead too many times. All right. Jay, any thoughts on what you think NXT was just based off of Chris?
You know what? I put it on Peacock for the latest episodes because I actually missed that episode on Tuesday. So, but I put it on my Peacock for the latest episodes, and that was the one I got. So I guess Peacock is one episode back. I don't know, but honestly,
it's up there right now. It's up there right now because I watched it earlier.
It usually gets up there on I think in the Wednesdays.
I would think so.
Wednesday at midnight or something.
Yeah, because I watched it this morning.
I think they replay it.
I think that's what happened. I watched it before they put the newest one up.
That might have been it. Yeah, that might have been it.
Oh, good. But, hey, man. Hey, listen, good stuff from NXT. No big deal. Yeah. We're gonna move on because
it's on there now because I watched it earlier today.
Yeah, I watched it this morning.
I missed it Tuesday because I was at the baseball game.
Oh, there you go, Jerry.
All right, no, we're good. All right, hey, real quick before we get into AEW and Dynamite, hey, Logan. So Saturday, what time are you gonna do this live party? You want to just so we can tell everybody what time?
Yeah. So Battle of the Belts is Saturday, 8:00, our normal time that we go live. Me and Jay are thinking about doing a live coverage of it, doing a live stream like we did for Mania. It's only gonna be, I think, 2 hours. So normal show, nothing too crazy. Chris unfortunately won't be here. We're going to try and get some other guys on and do a little live coverage of that because a good bit of titles going to be on the line. Not all of them. But yeah, that will be 8:00 on Saturday. Normal showtime.
All right, folks, there you got it. 8:00 on Saturday, normal showtime. We'll be doing a live stream of AEW Battle for the Belts. Real quick. So this is what I got from Dynamite.
Okay.
No, and I think I'm correct on this one, so we should be good.
I would hope so, Jay. This is cable.
I know, right? Jeez Louise.
They don't show recaps of this. They don't show replays of wrestling on cable.
So we had Oscuro versus CM Punk, which Oscuro to me looked like some kind of devil, demonic looking thing. He comes out, he challenges them, whatever. So they kind of go at it. There's some body slams, typical wrestling maneuvers. Things of that CM Punk did hurt his knee slipping off the rope, but at the end of the day, though, Punk does get the win, and it's good to see CM Punk out there. I mean, he put on a good show against this devil-looking creature, but yeah, man, it was good. It was vintage CM Punk.
Good start to the show.
Gonzo, what do you think about CM Punk versus Skuro?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I liked it. It didn't go too long. You saw Punk doing some selling with his knee. And, I thought it was overall pretty good match to kick off the show.
Gonzo, what'd you think?
I thought it was a good match to kick off the show. The crowd seemed to be split down the middle, which is always makes it more interesting. So yeah, I thought it was a good match to kick off the show. I mean, CM Punk is CM Punk.
He's always gonna have good matches. Come on.
Yeah.
And then, and of course, then they showed a little airfield episode with Chris Jericho and his crew, and it looked like they dumped some of the people in his crew, and they tried to take him out, whatever. And then, of course, the car takes off, whatever. And they got the hurt guys there with one who's got no shoes on.
Joe, they stole his shoes and everyone's underwear. They stole my shoes.
They stole my shoes and my underwear. And then we move into the Red Dragon versus Jungle Boy and what's that dude's name?
Luchasaurus.
Yeah, Luchasaurus. There you go. And Jungle Boy does get the win. They put up a pretty good fight with Red Dragon. After they get the win, Red Dragon then attacks with chairs as they get their backs turned them. So that was kind of cheap on their part. And then FTR shows up with a brawl against Red Dragon. And, of course, FTR wins that little escapade, in my opinion. All in all, a good match between Jungle Boy. There was a lot of good high-flyingness to it. Red Dragon put up a pretty good fight, but it was interesting to see how Red Dragon then, takes a cowardly approach with the chairs to the back. And, of course, then, we had FTR show up and do FTR-like things. Good. All in all, a pretty decent match. Gonzo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent match, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing FTR and Red Dragon go at it.
Yeah, we're 2 for 2 on matches so far. That was a really good one. Good tag team match, really good mesh between those 4 gentlemen. And like you said, we get the tease for FTR and Red Dragon, probably for the Ring of Honor titles at an upcoming show, upcoming pay-per-view, whatever. And that's going to be a really good match. Looking forward to that.
And then the next match was MJF versus Captain Shawn Dean.
What a match.
And it was
match.
It was a typical match, what have you. And then Warlow shows up, goes to security in the back, makes his way to the front, gets almost to the ring before security is able to I guess, kind of reel him back in and get him out of the area. And, of course, Shawn Dean does come away with the win against MJF. It was good, but he got him on a count out. He got MJF on a count out, I guess, because MJF was running around trying to get from Wardlow and all that stuff. So he got him on a count out. So Shawn Dean gets the win, but then you have MJF basically say, come out there and basically say that talk about Wardlow's never going to get another shot. He's basically taking everything away from Wardlow. So I don't know. It's still going to be an ongoing issue between Wardlow and MJF. Gonzo?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. I don't think it was as strong as the first 2 matches on the card, but I'm not going to say it was a terrible match either. I like MJF just because he's so good on the mic. I mean, and he's gotten a lot better. He's getting a lot better in the ring as well. If you look at the improvement he's made from when he first got in AEW to now, it don't even look like the same guy in the ring. But he's always been good on the mic. I actually do shows at a place in Indiana where MJF used to train. But no, I thought it was a solid match.
I mean, this wasn't really a match. I mean, to me, this is just advancing the storyline. Also, Jed, this is AEW's first ever count-out victory. They've never had one in 3 years.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they really don't do DQ finishes or count-outs, so they barely go there. And I mean, it made sense, right? MJF got on the mic. He said, "Look, whatever Tony Khan's paying you, I will triple this if you don't count me out." He said, "Please don't do it," because I think it was maybe last year, the year before, Jay, and Shawn Dean had actually beaten MJF before. I forget how it ended, but it wasn't like clean. Obviously, it was like someone beat up MJF and he got a cheap win or something like that, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's not like Shawn Dean's a killer or nothing. It's just he's now known as the guy who's beaten MJF twice. Pretty much. That's his claim to fame.
And then JR JR said MJF is a boy on the ass of life.
But now this is all about Big Wardlow coming in. We see in the back, security's laid out. We saw one of them shirtless. I'm like, why is this guy shirtless? And then we see Wardlow coming up from behind with the security shirt on, with the mask and everything. And then
you realize why.
Yeah, then you get the good reveal of MJF turning around and be like, oh God, and runs for the hills, beats up about 45 security guards.
I think this match was more storyline based than it was an actual match.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. This wasn't supposed to be a fight, like a big long match. No, this is just to advance the eventual. Next week we get Wardlow in a match against the Butcher. They announced that after.
Yeah, that's true. We do get a match with the Butcher, which should be really good, honestly.
Two big ones going at it, but yeah, MJF get the loss. Crowd went crazy for it. Good segment overall.
And then of course we move into the trios match. Featuring Jericho, Daniel Garcia, and Jake Hager versus Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. I got Jericho coming away with the win on that one. Kingston, it looked like Jericho was kind of – in my opinion, it wasn't Chris Jericho's best match. I mean, he was getting kind of beat up a little bit here and there, but they did get the win on it. But I thought the match was in and of itself was okay. It wasn't like the best thing, but it wasn't bad. What y'all guys think about it?
It wasn't the best match on the show, but it wasn't awful. I don't know if Eddie Kingston was hurt or something. He didn't. I thought he wasn't wrestling a whole lot. He wasn't in the ring as much as I would have liked to have seen.
Right.
So he might be having some like ongoing small injuries or something. I don't know. Like the Junkyard Dog tribute, he had the thump shirt. I like to see that. Like I say, it was a decent match, nothing crazy. Of course, the Jericho got the win after got the bat right to the spine, knocked him out cold, 1, 2, 3. So they are going to continue this feud. I'm interested though, Chris, because it's currently 5-on-3 the way these two kind of teams are stacked up. I'm curious if Kingston and them are going to add 2 more guys to make it a 5v5 as a blow-off. What do you think?
Yeah, they could do that.
Just because they're outnumbered.
I thought this was a decent match. It was, like you said, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
but
it's all right.
This Jericho Appreciation Society just hasn't got over the way I thought it was going to. I mean, it's not bad, but I thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be at another level.
Yeah, I mean, there's still time. It was still fresh.
Yeah.
And then it kind of moved into like this go to the bathroom match, which was Sky Blue versus. I think is it Shafir? How do you say your name?
Marina Shafir.
Shafir, thank you. It was Shafir versus Sky Blue. Sky Blue basically didn't even stand a chance against Shafir. Everything Sky Blue tried to do just didn't work out for her. It was a very short match, and Shafir did get the win. But honestly, it was about a good 5 or 6 minute bathroom break match, in my opinion. You guys got anything different on it?
This match sucked. This match was awful. The crowd was dead silent. I mean, to be fair though, this was Shafir's debut on like AEW Dynamite. I don't know if she. I don't even think she's been on Rampage before. So no one really even knew who she kind of was, right? And I mean, Sky Blue. I know she's been used before, but I don't really see a whole lot of big talent in her at the moment. That might change. But I mean, obviously, this is just going to go towards the Shafir and Jade Cargill match they've been kind of promoting recently. I'd never watched Marina before because I know she's been on like the YouTube shows. But after this, I know 1,000% that Jade's going to win that match, and I feel like that's not going to be as good as I hoped because this was not a very good first impression. The less said about this match, the better. Chris.
Yeah, I didn't care much to say about that match.
Well, then we kind of move into
skip it. Don't watch it. You don't have to watch this. This was not. That was not a good match.
You guys said enough about that. I don't need no more time on that match.
I'm about to say, Chris was surprised we found that much to say about it.
But then we kind of move into the powerhouse Hobbs and Starks versus Swerve Strickland and Keith Love, and powerhouse Hobbs and Starks did get the win. It was an okay match, there was some tossing and turning, man. A couple of suplexes, whatever. And then, of course, you had, I believe it was Powerhouse that pinned Kenneth Love for the win.
It's Lee, Jay. It is
Kenneth
Keith
Lee. My bad, Love. I'm going to say Love. Yeah, I can't read my own handwriting. Kenneth Lee. He gets Kenneth Lee for the pin.
Jay, it is Keith Lee.
Okay, Keith, damn it. Keith Lee.
Kenneth Love.
Lee.
No.
Just like Mad Cat is Mad Cap. I got it. Okay.
We're never forgetting that one.
Yeah. So Keith Lee, so he pins Keith Lee for the win. Not a bad match, honestly, in my opinion. It was okay.
Yeah. Some slow parts in this. I feel like it maybe could have gotten trimmed down a couple of minutes. But wasn't a bad match overall. Happy that Hobbs got a win. He hasn't won in a minute, feels like. And I guess they're gonna keep this feud going. I mean, I don't really I'm not a huge fan of it, but I mean it's not awful. It's just kind of there for me now because they've had this match between the four of them multiple times now. But yeah. I mean, good win. Happy that we got to see Taz. He came out for a minute. And we happy that old Hobbs got the W over Keith Love.
You mean Keith Lee?
Yes, I do. Chris, what did you think of the match?
I see what you did there, by the way.
Thank you.
I thought it was a pretty good match. I love that Taz came out and the arena started chanting ECW. That
nice
cool.
touch.
That was cool to see. Kind of took me back to the old ECW days for a few seconds. But no, I thought it was overall pretty solid match. I agree with you. They could have trimmed a little bit off of it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I mean.
They were just killing time, though. Decent. They were killing time for the main event. But before, like I said, we got to talk about also their piece here. We get the Dynamite debut of Hook next week. He's been on Rampage. Hasn't wrestled in a little bit. He's been hanging out with Danhausen. And now we get to see who he's going to face on Dynamite. So we'll see.
So then we kind of move into the last match, which was Suzuki versus Samoa Joe. And then somebody who I can't remember. I hate when I can't read my writing. Somebody came in and spoiled the celebration. I didn't write down the name though.
Are you talking about the big guy who came out?
Yeah.
Satnam Singh. He was a former NBA player.
There you go. That's the name.
Drafted by the Dallas Mavericks in 2015. He is 26 at the moment.
Yeah, so Samoa Joe got the win, but then he came in and ruined, I guess, their celebration or whatever. Kind of messed up Samoa Joe a little bit, but I don't know. It was okay. Samoa Joe got, like I said, he put up the whole thing was they were slapping each other for a good half hour, it seemed like. It was just slap after slap after slap, I guess, to see who could take the most pain, so forth. But ultimately, Samoa Joe got the last laugh on it, took the most pain, and got the win. And then, of course gets blindsided or ruined at the end of it. So, but all in all, Samoa Joe got a pretty good win. Logan,
beat the crap out of each other. I don't know what you're talking about. They were slaps. They were forearms. Their chests were as red as steaks. I mean, they were killing each other for the first 5 minutes. And then Joe got the win. He is now the Ring of Honor television champ. He'll probably hold on to that one for a while. Suzuki, like I said, he's 50-something. So just for him to even still be wrestling, that's still insane. And then we saw the debut of Singh. I mean, dude is what is he? He is 7 foot 3 inches tall. So they found him a monster, an Indian monster. And we'll see how he can do. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like it was necessary for him to hit the blackout lights for it, but I mean, my God, we got another 7-footer in wrestling. Jay, I know you were happy to see that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I actually haven't got to see watch this match yet. I'm going to watch it because I've heard it was a good match. I have heard a lot of people complaining about the end, about them turning the lights off and that.
Yeah, it just felt unnecessary.
I've heard people complain about the lights were off too long or this or that.
They probably had to come to the ring. Take them all those giant legs, man.
But yeah, I'm actually going to try to watch the match tonight. I just have being gone Tuesday at a baseball game threw me a day back on all my other stuff I have to do, and I got busy last night and didn't get to watch it.
I got you. Overall, this is a pretty good episode of Dynamite. I would recommend the majority of this show as opposed to NXT. Skip the women's match; it was not good. But other than that, pretty decent show.
Yeah, what I've seen all but the main event, and it was a pretty decent show.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't the best thing ever, but I mean it was good. And then for Friday, the big match for Rampage is the Texas Death Match, and then Saturday we get the Battle of the Belts, which we'll be doing live coverage of.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I tell you, man, we got some really good wrestling coming up this weekend. Should be very, very good live event come Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. For that, like Logan said, AEW's Battle of the Belts, so I expect that to be really good. We'll have Frankie the Yankee on board as well, so it's going to be a good time. Of course, Gonzo will be out of town doing his work for his podcasting and things, so he will be missed. Gonzo, your expertise will be missed, but we will catch Gonzo back on the following Tuesday. Final thoughts, gentlemen. Final thoughts. Gonzo, any final thoughts?
A lot of sports have been going on. NBA playoffs, I think, are going to be great. I think it's going to be a good playoffs this year. And baseball kicking off. You can't go wrong with baseball. That's actually what I was doing. I was looking for the Reds game. They're getting ready. I think they start in about a half hour. Going to play the Dodgers tonight. So I'll be up all night watching the Reds and the Dodgers. That should be a good. Oh man, if the Reds beat the Dodgers, the Dodgers are playing really terrible right now. So y'all might actually have a chance of beating them. Yeah, but the Reds aren't playing very good right now either.
Yeah, I would say we're only a week into the season, gentlemen. Still plenty of baseball left. Just happy it's back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh man, I'm so glad it's back. Honestly,
there was a player. I went and watched that A-ball game, and it was the Fort Wayne Tin Caps.
What a great name.
They're the San Diego Padres okay.
Team.
And then it was the South Bend Cubs, which you know who the farm team they're for.
Yeah, obviously.
But on that South Bend team, they had a kid. I call him a kid, but he's probably maybe 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
And this dude was throwing 99 miles an hour consistently at the A level. So I mean, that
tells me that if he has good control or gets really a few more pitches under his belt, he ain't gonna last an A-ball too long.
No, he won't be an A-ball too long. He had good control. He just has to get his breaking pitch where he can throw it for strikes a little more consistent, and he'll be in the majors.
Cool.
Because he was throwing a breaking pitch at 87 miles an hour, and then coming back with a 99 mile per hour fastball.
Good luck hitting that fresh out of hall school. Man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, like I said, happy sports are in full effect. Plenty of wrestling going on. And always, like I said, basketball's coming to an end a little bit. Baseball's just started up. And also, we have the draft in 2 weeks from tonight, in 10 days. Actually, wait, hold on. Wait. No, it's the 28th. Yeah, 28th. So 2 weeks exactly. I don't know if we're going to do anything for that because the draft can take forever. Unfortunately, I mean the draft takes 3 hours, man, and there's a lot we can do. But
we went live for it last year. It's a long show,
a little bit of a struggle. So we might do something. I don't know. We might do like the first hour, the first 5 picks. I don't know, but we'll discuss it all off air and let y'all know. But yeah, draft is 2 weeks from today, so we'll probably get a mock draft for all of us. I would assume pretty soon, maybe next week. And we'll see who our teams are going to pick and who we think is going to go number 1.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Not to give a spoiler, but I really have a feeling that Aiden Hutchinson's probably going to be the guy that goes number 1 to the Jags. The Jags need a lot of help, and they really do need probably yeah, and they really do need probably the best available out there. So I mean, because of the amount of positions that they need to fill. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if he goes number 1.
We'll see.
All right, well, folks, that was my final thought. And again, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Battle of the Belts, AEW live stream. Yeah. We will do show, party, the whole 9. BYOB, because quite frankly, it'd be hard to do anything else.
It's only going to be 2 hours. You don't have to stick with us for 5 hours like you did for WrestleMania. So it's like tonight. It's like tonight.
This is a very short, condensed 2-hour show, so no big deal. But all right, folks, until next time, this is your boy Jay McLovin with our boy from Gonzo Sports from Chris Gonzo Gonzales, and your boy, you can see 100 yards of football as well, Logan the Man Landers. Until next time, we're out of here. Y'all have a good night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a place. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.